right, welcome back to the Hold My Helmet Football Podcast. I'm your host, Will Reichling.
And I'm your co-host, Dylan Boyle.
Welcome back, Dylan. Welcome back. Week 4 in the books. The Bills, the Ravens showing it to the Bills. You were right, I was wrong. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, I think combined for 5 total touchdowns in this game. Yeah, it was a bloodbath.
It was. And in the beginning of the season, you're like, I don't know how they're going to fit Derrick Henry in this team. We know how it fits now. You saw it. They got it down to a pack. Derrick Henry, he's, you've said it before, generational running back, and he still has it in him.
And I was very surprised. Going into the offseason when they signed Derrick Henry, I'm like, okay, this is going to work 100%.
Yeah.
The read option, Lamar, Derrick Henry, who's going to get the ball. But then after the first couple of weeks, the Chiefs had the lead on him, and Derrick Henry kind of sat in the sideline a lot in that fourth quarter because they had to pass the ball. And I was like, this is kind of a weird fit because, if you don't have the lead, you're kind of in trouble. But when they had the lead and they pound the rock with Derrick Henry, who's going to stop them? Who's going to stop them? Seriously. They actually have... They're probably the best running game in the NFL right now, let's be honest.
Absolutely. I mean, for almost having 200 rushing yards, you got to use somebody like that. And I feel like they really figured out how to use him. And I feel like they should incorporate more of a screen with him. But I don't know. They're doing everything right now.
Yeah, you cannot complain about how they played that game. You really can't because they dominated from start to finish. And the Bills, at one point, were starting to slightly get back into the game. I'm pretty sure it was 28-10. No, it was 21-10 at the time. Mm-hmm. And then, the Bills kind of scored that last drive. They got the ball back again. You felt the momentum shifting. And then the first situation of too cute for this episode. Too cute. Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, that's our segment.
Curtis Samuel flipping back to Josh Allen, and then he was strip sacked and then turned over. That was the play of the game. That changed all the momentum. You got too cute, Joe Brady. Just pound the rock, play action, have Josh Allen be effective. Don't be doing trick plays when you're down more than 2 scores. And actually it was 2 scores. You're down 2 scores, you have to come back.
And they were running it effectively. James Cook, it's just really unfortunate. When you're down like that, a lot of coaches seem to try to get away from that, try to do something to make a change. Just stick to what you're good at. What this team is good at is running the ball, giving screens to James Cook. I mean, they've shown it that James Cook is effective with this offense. You can't back away from that.
Right. They're most effective when they run down the hill with James Cook, Josh Allen, and when they throw screens to James Cook. So what are you doing, Dylan? What are you doing in that situation?
Couldn't tell you.
Too cute. Too cute. We said it last week. I said it last week. That's going to be the saying of the season. This is our first situation this week of too cute.
It is stamped too cute.
And that blew the game for them. That shifted all... The momentum at that point was going in Buffalo's way. That shifted all the momentum back.
After
and that was the game right there.
They just ran the clock, and they were pretty efficient with it.
So we'll get into the top... I'm going to bring this up now. We're going to get into our top 10 power rankings in a little bit after all these reactions. Are the Bills high up on there? Don't spoil it, but are the Bills high on your list?
Breaking news, the Bills are not high on my list.
What about the Ravens?
On the other hand, the Ravens are high for me.
They're both in my top 5. Let's just say it that way.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I feel like the Bills were really exposed in this game.
They were exposed.
I mean, you if you run up the score on them, can they come back? I don't think so.
I do think their first 3 wins were very impressive. Were they great teams? Probably not. Arizona gave them a challenge and they came back and won. Miami, they dominated before Tua got hurt.
Tua was out most of the game.
And Jacksonville just sucks. Let's be honest.
You got to look at that game. You got to take it with a grain of salt. I mean, these wins were not impressive. Yeah, they were impressive wins. They looked good. The Jets looked good against the Patriots. All right, we'll get into that one too.
A little bit of a low blow there, my friend.
A little bit,
but. No, you're absolutely right, Dylan. Those 3 wins, they weren't against good teams, but they were very impressive wins. And you play who's on your schedule. So I still think the Bills are a really, really good team.
Listen, a lot of people were sold on the Bills because it looked like they had it all put together. And there was some sort of relief after getting rid of Stephon Diggs. Not having to worry about getting Stephon Diggs the ball. But maybe you need that guy. Maybe you need that...
Someone to push the envelope. Hey, let's go. Move the ball right now. Give me the ball. Maybe you need someone like that.
What is their X factor? James Cook?
That's it. But that is a good X factor.
It is. I mean, he's only come on for, the last year or 2? That's when he started coming on?
Yes.
He's a good running back, but...
They have 2 really good tight ends. They have
tight ends.
Keon Coleman started to come on a little bit. Shakir, I think, has been pretty great. But you're right. They have a bunch of really good pieces and James Cook.
Listen, they need that one X factor.
I think it's more of the defense. are you a little worried about the defense? I mean, I know Sean McDermott is a defensive head coach, but at the same time, they got a little bit gashed there by the ground game of the Ravens. So
I mean, look who's back there, Damar Hamlin. I mean,
he was a backup a few years ago.
He was, and I feel like he really wouldn't be in this situation if that whole thing didn't happen. Let's be honest.
No.
He had an interception, but they got rid of a lot of cornerbacks and safeties after that year, and he stuck there.
Honestly, I don't even think that's a hot take at all. He didn't even dress for half of last year. Now he's a starter, but he's played well. He
had a few key moments, but I'm just saying that secondary is a little weak.
You know what secondary is weak? Both of their secondaries, the Seahawks and the Lions. Both defenses suck in that game. That was a great game. Offensive showdown. Geno Smith looked great. Jared Goff looked near perfect. How he didn't get a perfect pass rating, I don't know. He went perfect 18 for 18.
He didn't get... I mean,
was it the yard?
They had that safety at the end.
Was it the amount of yards?
The amount of yards...
Right, I don't know.
I couldn't tell you. I don't know how
that was a perfect
game.
In my opinion, that was a perfect game. Geno Smith, honestly, Jared Goff looked great, yes, but when you have the two running backs running the way you are, you're going to look great in the play action.
Yeah, absolutely.
Geno Smith looked really impressive in this game.
He did.
Down 2 scores for basically the entire game, just slinging it down the field, being aggressive, slinging the ball. Geno Smith, I know we kind of hated him a lot because sometimes in some games he could be a little too conservative. Here, he was aggressive. When he's aggressive, Geno Smith could be a top 15, 16 quarterback.
I was going to say... Are they good enough to win, though? Win the big games. This was the big games. They almost came back, but Geno does have a lot of good flashes, but then sometimes you get the good old Geno. The Geno that, throws picks, the Geno that, was on the Jets. I just don't know if he can win the big game.
And I think that's a very legitimate question.
And let's be honest, if you look at their roster, they have everything. Like, Walker's a great running back.
Charbonnet. Metcalf, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Lockett.
They have all the pieces. You got a mobile quarterback that should be able to break out the pocket, so the line's not that important. What else are you missing?
The defense. And Mike Macdonald, a defensive head coach, he's had a great start. You're 3-1, but that defense was embarrassed in that game. Both defenses. Honestly, the Lions, I'm a little worried about their defense too because both quarterbacks were slinging on the rock. Mm-hmm. Both running games were. Kenneth Walker had 3 touchdowns. Montgomery and Gibbs had combined 3 touchdowns. Yeah. So both running games were just working very effectively. So both of these defenses got gassed. It was honestly a classic, an offensive classic.
It was, absolutely. I wouldn't be too hard on the defenses. I mean, they were, at this point, the Seahawks were in garbage time, and they were kind of, they just so happened to come back. But they always kept it like at least a touchdown away. So it's not like they weren't playing with their food. No. It was 42-29.
Right. I know that was kind of garbage time, but I actually was really impressed with Geno Smith in this game. Like, I think Geno Smith actually really impressed me in this game.
He did. I just don't know if he's going to stay like that and if he could win the big game. You couldn't win the big game now. When can you?
That's actually, you hit the nail on the head.
At the same time, they were 3-0. They weren't an impressive 3-0. Honestly, they weren't even on my radar.
They barely beat the Patriots.
They barely beat the Patriots. But they still have time to try to put it together. And, I mean, NFC is pretty weak. So
they're very much in the playoff hunt, Dylan.
They are. They're still up there.
Are the Cowboys in the playoff hunt still? They beat the Giants 20-15. I was not impressed by Dallas.
I wasn't impressed by either one of these teams. My Giants did not play good at all. Everything else was working besides Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones was not there today. He had some good passes, but all these deep balls, he cannot throw a deep ball. Everything is underthrown, and it's just so unfortunate because this offensive line is finally being put together. He has time in the pocket. He has all the opportunity in the world. You have 2-star wide receivers, 1-star wide receiver,
and one really good wide receiver.
One really good.
I like Wandale.
I love Wandale.
Couple drops in that game, but he's a very effective.
Even Singletary, he goes off at sometimes. He's a good receiving back. He can go up the hole,
break some tackles.
Absolutely, everything's there for this team. But Daniel Jones is not giving it his 100%. There shouldn't be 4 different plays where you underthrow your wide receiver. They should have 2 to 3 of those should have been touchdowns. Even the one to I don't know if it was Malik. He completely underthrew him, and he had to wait there for the ball. If he would have hit him in stride, he could have been up
That
the
was
field.
Malik, and Malik burned his guy there, but like there was a safety over the top. So look, if you're wide open, just get the ball there. There was other throws, the Slayton ball that he underthrew on the offside.
Multiple plays.
Right.
And I don't even like bringing this up because I don't think anything's rigged, but like there was a face mask call that was that got called on the Giants. Meanwhile, the Cowboys defender, obviously, it was on him. It's like they made a mistake.
When it was the Chiefs, I said, the refs are trying to maybe are asked to sway things one way or another because of Taylor Swift. I think in this situation, the refs are just retarded. The refs are just stupid.
How did nobody say something? How did
no one from New York call in and be like, guys, you got the wrong guy, man? How did no one? They have headsets on.
The camera angle was there. We were even questioning it to begin. It's like, hey, it was kind of the other guy that did that.
That's a bad job.
And we were moving that drive. Like, listen, I don't think that was the game there. Like, no. I really don't. I think it really came down to Daniel Jones. And honestly, I'm not off him yet, but what are we doing? I mean, this is supposed to be the guy. This was the time to shine. You had all the opportunity in the world, and you didn't make it. You didn't shine.
It's a weird situation because Daniel Jones, he has the tools you want in the quarterback. He can move. He actually does have a big arm. Even though he keeps underthrowing deep balls, he does have a big arm.
No, he does at times.
He's big. He's got a good IQ. He's a good soldier. He's a great teammate. It just seems like it never comes to fruition for him on the field. Why that is, I don't know. Maybe Golden Tate said the best paralysis by analysis. He overthinks. I don't know, but it seems like on these deep balls, he has a good arm. Why does he keep underthrowing these deep balls, Dylan?
And I really think you got a point there, just being under the pressure, I mean, we saw it with Bryce Young. He was under tons of pressure. I mean, Alabama, he was completely slinging it. But what I'm trying to get at, everything was humming, like the defense was humming. You had Burns that's finally coming on to be a good defensive player. Thibodeau's a really good piece. And, of course, Dexter Lawrence. I mean, you have everything you want. We held them to 20 points. If your defense holds offense like this to 20 points, you expect if your defense holds them to at least 20 points, you expect your offense to do something.
And be competitive.
Yeah, exactly. And we can go right into the Jets game from this because they have a very similar problem.
They do. And before we get into my New York Jets, I want to ask you one question. I'm not even going to say an MVP quarterback, a Hall of Fame quarterback, a decent quarterback. Put Baker Mayfield in the Giants. Where do they go?
Give me Geno, and I think we can get it done.
What is get it done? Because I think if the New York Giants had a decent quarterback, they could be a playoff team.
If we had Sam Darnold, we would be in the same situation.
Would Sam Darnold be as good without like Kevin O'Connell at offensive coordinator? Brian Daboll's a very smart OC, but is he Kevin O'Connell? Like that's
absolutely. He won Coach of the Year 2 years ago,
and he was really good with Jalen Hurts in Alabama. He was good with Josh Allen in Buffalo. I agree. I actually think Brian Daboll's a very good head coach.
And if we listen. Best case scenario, we shit the bed. We get another quarterback. Brian Daboll coaches him up, and we become an actual team.
I agree. Do not move off Brian Daboll, no matter how bad this year goes. I mean, he's a smart offensive guy, Dylan.
Absolutely. I mean, they threw Tommy DeVito in there, and they look like a competent team.
It just seems like Daniel Jones overthinks everything. But Daniel Jones is going to be in the league for a long time, probably as a backup, but he has the traits to be in the league. Like, is Bryce Young even the backup? There's a lot of people. Is Will Levis even the backup? Like, that's Daniel Jones.
Will Levis could be a backup.
Maybe, but he turns the ball over too much for a backup.
He does.
And he's a little too much rah-rah, like, brolic workout. Like, Daniel Jones is quiet.
He has
goes to
those
work.
qualities.
Yes. He's going to be in the league for a long time. He has traits that you like, but it just never comes to fruition.
It's that New York media. It's there's a lot of pressure.
Kay Adams. His girl. I'm just kidding. Are they actually dating, or is that just a joke?
I don't know.
I think it's a joke.
I don't care at this point. Maybe if we were winning, I would care. I don't care at this point.
So, Sam Darnold, you brought him up. 4-0, being the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love just coming back. He was rusty in that first half. He had a couple of bad throws. One went right through the receiver's hands. But they did storm back in the second half.
They did.
I mean, the Vikings got to such a big lead that, like, what Darnold do in the fourth quarter really matter? Like, he had a fumble and an interception, but they were up so much.
Yeah.
It was like, I really thought the Packers were fine because of how I saw Jordan Love play in the second half. Sometimes people say, like, oh, you you start to turn it on when you had a big deficit. The defense is a little lackadaisical. I can't take that seriously. I can, because some of those throws he made, like, Jordan Love can ball, man. Does he turn the ball over a lot? Sometimes, yes.
I mean, listen, what do you have? The first game in the season, he was out by halftime, and now we're in week 4. So that's 3 weeks. You're a little rusty. I get it. So I'm not surprised by this. By halftime, they put it all together, and they looked like a really good team. And honestly, I love the Vikings. I think they're going to make a run in the playoffs, and honestly, they could even make the NFC championships. I mean, the way that they're playing now, how can they not? They have all the pieces there. Jordan Addison just came back. He looks like a baller. He's a great match with Justin Jefferson.
I gotta agree with you here.
This was a great game. It was, and I'm impressed by how the Packers came back in this and
resilience.
Honestly, this could be a NFC championship right here. This really could.
I don't think you're
maybe not
crazy.
this year, but like next year.
I think this year. I think maybe this year.
It could be.
So these two teams are very exciting. Offensively, they both have exciting weapons.
For sure.
Justin Jefferson making that crazy catch in the end zone.
That's what he does.
And Sam Darnold has shown that he can make big-time throws in big-time moments. In the fourth quarter, yes, he had a bunch of turnovers. Not a bunch, he had a couple turnovers. Yeah. But he made some big-time throws when he had to keep them in the lead. And Jordan Love, they were down, and he made big-time throws when he had to, too. So these are two, right now, big-time quarterbacks. This could be a playoff matchup.
Big-time quarterbacks. There's only 2 4-0 teams right now, the Chiefs and the Vikings.
And we all know the Chiefs is like, eh.
The Chiefs, I'm not impressed with
the Vikings beat the Niners. They beat the Packers. Who else did the Vikings beat?
They've had impressive wins. Yes. Like, there's no question. Like,
and the Texans, Niners, and the
those
Packers.
Are like the bubble, the Super Bowl bubble.
Those 3 teams.
And how can you not put them in it now?
I said last week, like, the shoe's going to fall out under them eventually. I was wrong.
I don't see it.
I don't see it either.
I really don't see it.
One receiver in this game that I think is turning into a star before our eyes, Jaden Reed. That guy's becoming special. Jordan Love's played 2 games. Both those games, he had big-time games. Jordan Love is finding Jaden Reed down the field. Jaden Reed
That's his man. That is.
Now, TV and Wicks had a couple of drops, but he has a couple of big moments, too. They have a lot of pieces there. Wicks, Reed, Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs. They have a Tucker Kraft, Musgrove. They have a lot of weapons.
Their wide receiver roster is pretty deep. And with somebody like Jordan Love, it's like, he can make it work with anyone.
Their ceiling is so high. It's not this year, Dylan. I love the Packers right now.
And it's crazy because, like, 1 year ago today, you're like, Jordan Love, is he the guy? Could he even be a starter in the NFL?
Yep. I was wrong. And
I'm glad I was wrong. These two might be hovering that MVP race.
I'm still a little out on Sam Darnold right now. I just saw too much on the Jets of him making stupid decisions.
I know.
Bad turnovers.
Seeing ghosts. I mean,
he made some bad.
And it comes down to the question:
coaching?
Is it just the New York atmosphere?
I think a lot of New York Jets has to do with the ownership. The ownership. You ever been in a bad company? And where does it always start with? The ownership, and it trickles its way down, my friend. You have bad ownership. We've been in a lot of companies like this. They have bad ownership, and it trickles down to the GM, trickles down to the supervisor, trickles down to the workers. You have a bad, toxic relationship at your job. I
think it all comes down to Saleh. He's not an actual head coach. He acts like one of the boys. Like, that should not be your head coach. Like,
we actually didn't talk about the Jets game. You said we're going to talk about.
Let's talk about it.
Embarrassing.
This is your Jets, so take the lead, my friend.
Honestly, I know I go on the podcast with Charlie Hart on the Green 19 Jets podcast, and he was like last week saying like, "Oh, this is a gimme game." Like,
game, yeah.
And we thought so too, though. We thought the Jets were gonna. We both picked them though, but we knew. Of course, we knew. If you looked at our last week podcast, we knew it was going to be tough. We knew Denver's defense is elite, but we thought the Jets were going to win this game. Both of us.
The defense did what it had to do. The offense did nothing.
Aaron Rodgers skipped a couple balls. He lost. Sometimes he looked at his hand and he was like. He knew. He skipped so many balls. But Breece Hall, is he just a finesse back?
No.
Can he run in between the tackles?
I've said this before. They're just not using him right.
What is right, though? Is he like a Barkley?
I think it comes down to hacking. It comes down... It really does.
That fuck.
If you really think about it... I mean, I've heard this before, and it's just made sense before. I mean, Aaron Rodgers brought in this guy that he's buddies with.
They signed Hackett before they traded for Rodgers, though. But they all said they want Rodgers wanted him. He'll never admit it, but
Gotta be there. But what I'm saying is, you see most of the time Aaron Rodgers comes up to the ball, he audibles, and he changes the play.
They almost get a delayed game because of how long they're taking to change the play.
He's changing like every play that's given to him. How about you stick with the play that your offensive coordinator is giving you?
He doesn't trust him, so why would you want him there? No, you're right though. Because
he's kind of like a know-it-all. It's like, I've been playing football longer than you. Let me handle this.
Look at Hackett with Russell Wilson in Denver 2 years ago. Shit show. Look at Hackett last year with Zach Wilson. Shit show. Can this guy call plays, Dylan?
No, it's not showing. I mean,
do you blame Aaron Rodgers? I don't blame him for changing the play.
There's nothing that Aaron Rodgers is doing that's wrong. I mean, he's moving around. He's a little mobile. He can get the ball out.
He was running for his life.
It's a little bit of both. It was a little bit of both.
He skipped some balls. Aaron Rodgers skipped some balls. He was not good in that game, but he was running for his life in that game, and he didn't move out of a lot of bad blocks.
I mean, you shouldn't be throwing deep balls in a rainy game like that. It was pouring, so of course,
Where's Garrett Wilson? Is he elite? No. I mean, he's just a really, really good receiver.
This is a great example. Look at Malik Wilson, Malik Neighbors
with Daniel Jones.
I mean, he makes up for Daniel Jones underthrown balls. I mean, like that one catch he caught over the defender. It's like he makes plays for him.
You have an elite quarterback, or even a top 15 quarterback. And you haven't gotten more than 60 yards in the game.
Does he not trust his receivers? Is that what's going on?
He looks fine with Lazard.
That's it. I mean, he feels comfortable with Lazard, and you have like a top 10 wide receiver on your roster that you're not using. You should be
potentially top
him.
10. I don't think he's top 10 right now. Yes, he's got talent. He's got top 10 talent.
You put him on the Bills. I mean, this is a great example. That's my comparison. You put somebody on the Bills because Josh Allen could feed his receiver.
You put Garrett Wilson on the Bills. He's probably an elite receiver.
Yeah,
but look, Charlie was saying, "Oh, wait, he's getting double teamed because who else do you have out there?" What does Justin Jefferson do? What does Davante Adams do? What does Jamar Chase do? They beat double coverage. CD Lamb, Malik Neighbors, they beat double teams.
They do.
So Garrett Wilson needs to go out there and beat some goddamn double teams. I'm sorry the curse, even though it's not really much of a curse.
It's a little bit of both. I think it's a little bit of him not trusting his receivers and... No, I really think it's just him not trusting the receivers. Throw a ball up and let him get it.
He did that his last year in Green Bay when he had Dobbs, Watts, and all these nice young talent.
Because you have the chemistry built up.
Right.
I feel like he's somewhat of a know-it-all. He's like, no, I trust Lazard. He'll get the ball. And it just he's just sitting back in the pocket, not trusting anyone. He's like, oh...
Honestly,
I don't know what to make of this. Are they still a Super Bowl contender?
They never were. I didn't say they were last week.
A lot of people were.
I said they could win a playoff game, and you know as a Jet fan that I'm very pessimistic.
I mean, I've said this before. What was the point of getting Aaron Rodgers if you're not going to the Super Bowl?
Right.
What was the point? You know you're going to have him for 2-3 years at max.
You're trying for a Super Bowl, but you're
trying.
I think you need a different coach and offensive coordinator. It needs to change. You need to change your leadership.
You got to change something.
Yes.
I mean, to the Broncos, you can't only have 9
Very
points?
impressive from Sean Payton though and Bo Nix. Even though Bo Nix had 25 completions and 67 yards. It was almost a record for the lowest yards per attempt.
You guys are going against the Broncos and a rookie quarterback. This should have been a cakewalk.
Even though it was bad weather. Right, exactly.
No matter what. All right, I enough of Jets.
But
I'm sick of talking about the Jets. They stink.
You just said we don't trust this head coaching staff. Talking about the head coaching staff that we don't trust. Nick Sirianni, the Eagles. There's 3 things wrong with that team, Dylan. We're gonna start right here. It's Philadelphia Eagles getting their ass kicked by the Bucs. 3 things wrong. 3 main problems with the Eagles. Number one, their defense, especially their secondary, has been awful, terrible. You drafted 2 corners and you still been getting blown out by these wide receivers. This passing game. Pathetic.
What, the first and second round too, right?
Yes. What was it? Not Terry and Arnold. Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. First round, second round. Cooper DeJean has barely even gone on the field.
These guys should take off running as soon as they get in the league.
Number 2, Nick Sirianni. What is he? He can't call plays. He doesn't seem like a leader. He seems immature. What is he? I don't know what he does well.
I feel like they gave him the head coaching job too early. He should have not maybe starting off as an offensive coordinator.
He was the OC of the Colts, I think, with Frank Reich. But then he
wasn't ready.
He wasn't ready. He was calling plays. His first year, I think it was 2021. He came in, was calling plays, they did poorly. He handed it over to Shane Steichen. Jalen Hurts from end of 2021 all through 2022, great. Shane Steichen goes to the Colts. Ever since, not the same again. Sirianni is an offensive guy and can't call plays. What the hell? What's his value there? That's number 2. Number 3, this might be the most important and critical one. Is Jalen Hurts any good?
Jalen Hurts.
Is he any good?
That's a great
27
question.
turnovers in the last 22 games. We've had people argue with us on TikTok, argue with us on YouTube about Jalen Hurts turning the ball over being illogical. How they're comparing him to Mahomes. Guess what? Mahomes has been turning over the ball too. His stats have been bad too. So to compare him to Mahomes, Mahomes has had the worst 2 seasons of his career, the last 2 seasons. 27 turnovers in 22 games, 19 picks in 21 games. Dude, that's bad. That's not good. That's not good.
I mean, when you see all these turnovers, an organization like the Chiefs, they have a great ownership. They have great coaching, so they're able to make up for it. Is Mahomes still the GOAT? Of course, but you should be able to make up for that. I mean, you get a turnover, you turn it around the next drive. But I feel like with Jalen Hurts, he just doesn't learn from his mistakes. He's sitting in the pocket too long. He's a running quarterback, and he's just sitting there. He has defenders running by him in eyesight, not even flashing an eye to them, and still trying to throw the ball, knowing damn well that he's still behind you. It's just he spends too much time in the pocket. I get it. You don't have your 2 stars. I understand, but you should still be able to work something. And not to mention, you have Saquon Barkley, the best running back in the league.
The best running back in football right now.
I mean, every time he has the ball, it's just like,
is it a 60-yard gain? Yeah.
You never know. He's shedding tackles left and right. You could use him in any position. He could run up the gun. He could catch screens at the backfield and run up the field. It's a little bit of both. It's Nick Sirianni and his coaching, and it comes down to Jalen Hurts and just turning over the ball and just being stupid.
And you're only down 2 scores. Why are you throwing every single play? And then, like, you hit the nail on the head, Dylan. The guy runs right past you. He's like, he's in vicinity of you, behind you. Where do you think he just went? He just, like, you just evaded him. He's, like, a step behind you. Where do you think he went? You think he just, like, fell over behind you? You go to throw the ball. He's right behind you. Strip sack.
It's like, what do you expect at that point? Like, Jalen Hurts' football knowledge is like, what's going on? What's going on?
It looks like he's sitting there, overthinking the pocket, taking the sack. He's actually looks like Justin Fields right now in the pocket. He's overthinking, sitting there, setting, sack. And then you're like, oh, the line's terrible. No, the line's not terrible. Move out the goddamn pocket, Jalen Hurts.
How do you go from one of the best lines in the league? You lose an important part. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Kelsey was a huge part.
They're getting sacked every other play.
It's like, I don't see the disconnection there.
There's got to be a happy medium there. You can't go from one to the other from one guy.
The only thing I can come down to is just Jalen Hurts not liking Sirianni and just like kind of like not afraid, but like just feel pressure from him.
You've heard of them arguing in the offseason.
Arguing? Oh my God! I mean, like you see his like eyes just like beating down.
He doesn't respect Sirianni, but like I don't respect Hurts either. Like I don't. It's both. This is a combination of stuff. But Baker dealt today.
Absolutely. I mean, if there's one quarterback that played his ass off, it's Baker.
He had a day, and that's all you can really say. Baker has really found a home in Tampa, and I'm happy for him.
I think he's going to be there for a while.
They're a contender this year in the NFC.
Absolutely.
Legitimately. Top 4 team in the NFC.
When it comes to the NFC, the doors are wide open. Yes. I mean, you never know what's happened. Honestly, the doors are wide open for any team right now. Let's just throw it out there.
Both conferences.
There's like only like 2 or 3 good teams that are really playing well right now, and like the rest is open.
Right. The NFC is wide open. The AFC is wide open. The Chiefs are 4-0, but the AFC is still wide open. The Chargers had a chance on Sunday to beat the Chiefs. They were up 10-0, but like they just like. After a while, they just kind of faded off. Justin Herbert was limping around. Like, that Worthy touchdown, we haven't seen Mahomes throw that deep in, like, forever. So to have that deep threat with Worthy, huge. He's been throwing a lot of bad picks, though, Patrick Mahomes. He's had a couple games with a couple bad picks. And then he tried to make the tackle. Tried to make the tackle, hurt Rasheed Rice on accident, obviously.
I'm not going to get on him.
No, he
was trying to make a play. But
it was just unfortunate,
At the same time,
it was bad luck.
What are you doing? You're a star quarterback. You know, like, you're the heartbeat of this offense. Why are you going out there trying to tackle someone? Let him score the touchdown.
Right.
Live to walk away another day, you know?
You know what? I think about it like this. You ever throw a bad pick picking Madden, you get so pissed, you try to like lay everyone out as you're like. I feel like he got so mad that he's like.
I get it, but
he kind of almost forced a fumble there too. That's the funniest part.
He did. I get it, but like you're the heartbeat of this offense, the best quarterback in the league. You're so valuable. What are you doing? So get out of there. Just let it happen. Yeah, but you're right. It was probably just his anger. But now they're missing their star wide receiver, Rashee Rice.
I don't think winning like this is like sustainable, Dylan. It really don't.
Isn't. They lost Rashee Rice. They lost Pacheco, both for a good amount of time. They have Marquise Brown that didn't even play yet.
Out for the year.
He's done.
Yeah.
So you have all these missing pieces, and you're thinking, are they going to pick up somebody? I mean, somebody just came up. I mean... Davante Adams. Now they're looking to trade him. So could that be a perfect piece there?
Let's get into the Davante Adams really quick. Is obviously an obvious destination for him is the Chiefs.
Yeah,
it's an obvious destination. Is it a good fit though?
I don't see why it wouldn't be.
You saw him with Tyreek Hill. You saw him with decent pieces. Kelsey, like pieces that can run routes. Davante Adams would be the best route runner he ever had.
He would.
That would be a match made in heaven.
A match with Worthy, one of the fastest receivers, and this route runner over here. Come on, I forgot to mention Kareem Hunt has kind of been making a name for himself.
He was decent in that game.
Yeah,
another spot. Davante Adams, the New York Jets.
The New York Jets.
They need him.
They need him, but I don't know if they need him. I don't know.
I think they're going to give up the kitchen sink to get him. They're going to I think they're going to go all in.
I think a better fit for him would be the Buffalo Bills. I feel like they're missing. I said it before. They're missing that X factor, and that would be their X factor right there.
If the Buffalo Bills get Davante Adams, they're a Super Bowl contender.
They're right back in it. They're moving right up my list.
If the New York Jets get Davante Adams, would you take them more seriously? No.
It's beyond wide receiver at this point. It really is.
It's coaching and ownership.
You get one good wide receiver out there. That's not changing what they did.
I do think it changed a lot. It might give you an extra win. Might give you that playoff win. But yeah, you're right. The coaching is a little sketchy.
I'm not crazy about Aaron Rodgers. His mentality, the way he goes about things, the way he takes losses, I just don't like it at all. He's just not a team player. He's past his prime. It's just there's so many problems with him. Him talking back to people. Him thinking he could run the whole organization. It's like, come on. What do you expect with this? I saw this coming a mile away.
Yeah, me too. I mean, we all did. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but you were just looking at the bright side of it, and I get it.
But it's not over yet.
It's not over yet. We always end back up on the Jets.
Dark horse team, Davante Adams. I don't know if this would even be possible with all the disputes with Ayuk, but the San Francisco 49ers.
No, they don't need him.
But imagine
that's just like overkill.
They've been struggling though, 2-2. Like with you had Davante Adams, like you're looking to get over the top right now.
But they're not struggling on offense. Like their offense is scoring. It's the defense at this point.
That's true. Brock Purdy's been playing amazing.
I mean, Debo's kind of been non-existent. I don't know where the hell he went. Ayuk, after he got his contract, disappeared. He's like, I got my money, I'm out. Where the hell are you? Dropping passes left and right. I mean, you have Juwan Jennings that's completely making a name for himself, and he's like their third string.
I'll throw out one more team. The Colts.
I think the Colts don't need somebody like that.
They have Pittman, but they don't have like elite wide receiver weapons.
They're still in the growing phase. They're still in the rebuilding stage. You don't need somebody like that right now.
With Richardson, he's probably not even going to be able to get him the ball accurately.
Exactly. I mean, it would be a nice fit, but you ideally with a receiver like this, you want to go into a team that's ready to go, ready to win a Super Bowl.
I think the Jets and the Chiefs and the Bills are the three teams. Jets, Chiefs, Bills. Dallas?
Commanders? That might be a nice fit.
I don't know if they're ready to give up draft picks though. The way they're playing well right now, do they want to give up like draft picks for an older receiver? I don't know. Cowboys maybe.
Cowboys, but it's another situation like they're beyond getting a receiver.
Yeah,
they have other problems.
Quarter season power rankers. Let's get into it right now.
Hell yeah.
We're gonna do
I've been excited for this.
Right. So we're gonna both go into our top fives, then we're gonna do 6 to 10. So I'll go first. Number 1, the best team in the NFL to me, Detroit Lions. I love the running game. I love the running game. Gibbs, Montgomery. Does the defense worry me? Yes. I think their offense is so elite. It's just too good that they're just going to be able to score as many points as they goddamn want to. Jared Goff, when he needs to play action, is very effective and very elite. And their D-line, Aiden Hutchinson having the career year, they can rush the passer. If they can rush the passer, they can neutralize their secondary a little bit. I got Lions number 1. Number 2, the Chiefs. 4-0. Look, I think it's the least impressive 4-0 team I've ever seen, but they won the Super Bowl the last 2 years in a row. I gotta respect them just for like their last 2 years. Last year we thought they were like falling off. 11-6, 3 seed, had a lot of like tough losses, and then they dominated in the playoffs. So I have to have them at 2. I don't like it, but I have to. Number 3, I got your Baltimore Ravens. They really impressed me against Buffalo. They started off 0-2, very rough. They lost to the Chiefs, then they lost to the Raiders. But they really picked it back up these last 2 weeks. Very impressive win over Dallas. Very impressive win over Buffalo. They got the ground and pound down. Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson totaled for 5 touchdowns against Buffalo. They did know what they do best. They got to run the ball effectively, play action with Lamar, keep Lamar, and keep him healthy. Ravens are the third best team in the league. They might even have won before the season's over.
Wow.
Number 4, Minnesota Vikings. I have to give them respect. 4-0. I have to take them seriously now. I'm not crazy about Sam Darnold. I do like how he's played so far, but like being a Jet fan, seeing him make all these stupid turnovers over his career and on the Panthers, I feel like the shoe's gonna fall out from under him eventually. But I'm gonna have to keep them at 4-0 right now. Let me just get to number 5 really quick. And number 5, I'm gonna go Buffalo Bills. They're 3-1. Look, those 3 wins weren't that impressive, but they did dominate. Like the teams weren't that impressive, but they dominated those wins. And Arizona week 1, they put up like a 20-something lead, and then Buffalo came back. Week 2, dominated 2 before he got hurt. Week 3, killed Trevor Lawrence. They run the ball well. Joe Brady knows what they do best. Josh Allen's the second best quarterback in the league. Sean McDermott's gonna have the defense playing up to par. So the Bills, they're top 5 teams. So I got Bills 3-1, 5 seeds. So my top 5 teams: Lions, Chiefs, Ravens, Vikings, Bills. You can go.
Great. I love it. So my power ranking starts with the Baltimore Ravens at number 1. I mean, listen, I'm going to start by saying this right now. Record has nothing to do with power rankings in my ranking. It doesn't. I mean, you're going to have wins where you say, hey, that team played a lot better. But Ravens, it seems like after week 3, they really had it all put together. Obviously, we were really worried how they were going to incorporate Derrick Henry. But after this was like the setting stone. Before this week, maybe I would have them a little lower, maybe the Chiefs in front. But you can just tell. They have it all put together. Feed Derrick Henry the ball. You say Lamar. I say Derrick Henry. Because he can be the heartbeat of that offense. And when Lamar has like a little bit less stress on his plate, he can work with that. And I feel like from now on, they're going to be dominating. Number 2, I have the Chiefs. You got to respect them. They're the Chiefs. They're 4-0 right now. They won all their games. Not too impressed by how they won and the teams that they beat. I mean, obviously they beat the Bengals. Close game. Could have gone either way, but I have them at number 2. I'm a little worried about them with all the injuries, but they still seem to be 4-0. So, got to respect that. At number 3, I have the Lions. I mean, yesterday was a great example of why Lions are great. They run the ball great, and whenever Stafford has to throw the ball, he can. He went 18 for 18. I forgot to mention that. He had a perfect passing rating.
Jared Goff,
I mean, not passing rating, but a perfect completion rate.
Should have been perfect passing rating.
It should have been. I mean, he can work with this offense, with that line, and he can look like a damn good quarterback. And that defense is nothing to joke around with. Obviously, we're worried about how many points they get scored on with, but I feel like their offense makes up for it. Montgomery, love him. He might be a top 5 running back right now, even for how old he is.
Sure, playing like one.
He is playing like one. At number 4, I got the 49ers. You got to love what the 49ers are doing, again, with all the injuries that they have. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff going around how, he was being carried and he's a system quarterback. You can tell by the way he plays. You see the throws he makes. He is the system. He is their quarterback. And he's proven it by all these injuries. Christian McCaffrey hasn't played a game all season, and they still look like the 49ers that we saw last year. So, I mean, you get all those pieces back, and this team is going to be dominating. I'm not sure. I know there's that stuff going around with Christian McCaffrey and the tendonitis with his Achilles or...
Is he out for the year?
He's not out for the year, but it is worse than they thought. So I'm a little worried about that, but again, they're still dominating, and I'm not too worried about it. And then at number 5, I got the Vikings. And the Vikings, you know how they just have that one team that, you know, you never thought was going to make any sort of run. This is the team that looks like last year's Texans. Sam Darnold, I might have had them at like almost one of the worst teams, and now they're coming up to be one of the best teams.
Me too.
And I'm just so impressed by Sam Darnold. He hasn't showed anything like. Sorry for that.
Yeah, the car's out back.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
But just Sam Darnold. He has a bad throw here and there, but again, all quarterbacks have that. You look at Mahomes; he has a bad throw here and there. You gotta give and take, and he's just making it work with all the receivers I have, and I love it. And there's no flaws in this team right now, so I like to see where they're going. They could be working their way up the list soon. So I have Ravens, Chiefs, Lions, 49ers, and Vikings.
And
my top 5.
And I have Lions, Chiefs, Ravens, Vikings, Bills. So that's our top 5. Let me get to 6 to 10 right now. So number 6, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield's been dealing. Todd Bowles is now becoming a nice veteran head coach with a nice defense. The defense plays up to their skis. I'm not crazy about the running game, but you got a great receiving core. Chris Godwin's been going off. And Baker Mayfield's been dealing. The Bucs, they might be a legit NFC contender, number 6. Texans, number 7. 3-1 right now. Have they been playing a little bit like subpar? Maybe a little bit. But the Jags were beating them the whole game, and they got the win at the end of the day. They just have too much talent on that roster. And CJ Stroud, Stephon Diggs is really looking like he's excited to play on that team. They have a stacked wide receiver room. Joe Mixon was hurt, and they still won that game. Joe Mixon comes back, they'll be just fine. Texans 7. 8, San Francisco 49ers. Yes, they still are the 49ers. Brock Purdy's been playing out of his mind, but you can't lose to the Rams without Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. That was a big loss, and they've been kind of sketchy this whole season a little bit. I forgot their other loss. They beat the Jets, obviously. Week 2. Who did they lose to week 2 again? But they had a big loss week 2. Why can't I remember it right now? Because they had the Rams. Yeah, look that up really quick.
I got you. I can't remember that either.
Yeah, I can't either.
The Rams, the Vikings. I mean that's.
Oh yes, well the Vikings I have as my number 4 team. So the Vikings are better than we thought. But like, if you're supposed to be the best team in the NFC, you gotta beat the Vikings.
They put up 32 points against the Jets. Just throwing it out there.
Well, the Jets aren't anything, but you have to beat the Vikings if you're gonna be the best team in the NFC. You have to beat the Rams without Puka and Cooper Kupp. That was a huge loss. They've been on a little bit of a rough stretch. They're in my top 10, but they are in the top 5 team right now. I got them at 8. Number 9. Washington Commanders. They might be the most exciting offense in the league right now. The last 2 games, the Bengals game and the game against the Cardinals, they've been so exciting. They're a top 10 team right now. Could they win the NFC East? They might be able to. Number 9, Commanders. Number 10, Green Bay Packers at 2-2. Yes,
I like it.
Jordan Love. He was a little sketchy in that first half, but that offense was guns blazing in that second half. They have so many offensive pieces between Jaden Reed, who I think Jaden Reed's becoming a superstar. Not a superstar, but a star number 1 wide receiver. Dontavian Wicks, Dobbs, Watson. You got Josh Jacobs, Musgrove, Kraft, the tight ends. They have so many pieces on that offense. Jordan Love's back. He was rushing in that first half, but you saw in the second half how special he can be. That Packers offense is just fine. Packers are a top 10 team. Nice. But number 11... just missing Seattle. I know they've been great. Geno's been outstanding, but I'll take Love and LaFleur over Geno. Mike McDonald, who's been great, but I'll take LaFleur over McDonald any day right now. So that's my top 10. So I'll repeat that one more time. 1 Lions, 2 Chiefs, 3 Ravens, 4 Vikings, 5 Bills, 6 Bucs, 7 Texans, 8 Niners, 9 Commanders, 10 Packers, and 11 just missing Seattle Seahawks.
Okay, I like it. So... starting with my top 6 in my power rankings, I have the Texans. Now, I really wish I could put them higher because the way that they were playing last year has been off the radars. But I feel like they did regress a little bit. They came back down to earth. They had some sketchy games, still pulled off wins, but you could see that how they took a step back a little bit. But obviously they added Stephon Diggs, and it feels like he's really a good piece on this team. I mean, you don't see him complaining. That's the one thing that we were all worried about. He seems to be loving it. So I think they're going to be fine. They're going to be making a playoff run. So I got them at my 6. At 7, I have Bengals. And I mean, I feel like this is more disappointing than anything, and we should be more criticizing on the Bengals. Because the Bengals, I mean, there used to be 4 to 5 teams, and the Bengals are always up there. And
I don't even have them in my top 11.
That's crazy, but you can't. I mean, Joe Shiesty, You can't. I mean, he's still a really good quarterback. He's just started heating up. I mean, even in that Commanders game, like he was still lighting it up. It really just came down to defense. They got to figure out what they're doing on defense. They can't let up 30-something points against the Commanders. Nothing against the Commanders. They're a great team, but when your offense is putting up 30 points, you expect your defense to help you out there. So they got to figure out what they're doing on defense. At number 8, I got the Bills. And similar situations to the Bengals. This team should be higher, but they're not, in my opinion. I feel like they got exposed this week against the Ravens. They just don't have that key factor. I mean, is it James Cook? Can he be an X factor? I don't think so. I think you need somebody else. Keon Coleman is just starting to come on. Not like these other wide receivers. If you had Malik on this team, this would be a different team. But I'm just a little worried about them. I think they're going to be fine. They might make a playoff run, but I'm still worried about them. At number 9, I have the Packers. And I want to put the Packers higher, but I feel like they just haven't proved it yet. They had one good year, and now Jordan Love's coming back. This is his first week back from injury, and he's lighting it up. I just hope they can keep up with it, and they have all the pieces they need, but at this point, they just got to prove it. But I think Jordan Love's going to be a great quarterback going into the future, and he's going to be somewhere in the league for a long time. And then at number 10, I have the Commanders. And Jaden Daniels. We talk about Lamar. This might be the next Lamar.
He's the team right now.
He is absolutely the team. I mean, I know Terry McLaurin he's happy now. He's like, oh my God, I finally got a quarterback. And that's what this team needed. I mean, they've gone through so many quarterbacks in the last few years, and they finally found the guy, and you could tell, like, the team's put together. You had a defense that was always kind of good, but now they have a reason to be good. So I feel like they got it all put together. They got Brian Robinson, that's still a really good back. You added Eckler, which seems to be a pretty good piece. And I feel like they're leading the NFC East 100%. I mean, all these other teams, the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Giants, they don't compare to the Commanders. I'm excited to see how they face up against the division. It should be an exciting game. My honorable mention, I got 3 that I couldn't make a decision on. So they could have all been 11, but they definitely weren't 10. I got the Eagles, the Bucs, and the Cowboys. And the Bucs probably were my 11, and the Cowboys and the Eagles, I would leave them.
I'm very surprised you have the Bucs in the top 10.
I want to.
It's a great question. You're thinking about it now.
I am, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm just not convinced.
I probably would have flipped the Bucs and the Bengals.
The Bucs and the Bengals.
Reasonable, right?
I'm pretty sure you did. It's funny. You had
Texans 7.
You had Packers at 10 and Commanders at 9. I had it the other way. I had the Packers and the Commanders. So we had that really.
So close. I had Seahawks at 11. That was my honorable mention. But I had 2 other teams in the first: Pittsburgh Steelers and the Bengals. Obviously, now the Pittsburgh Steelers, their defense is elite. I still can't take Justin Fields seriously.
They got too much controversy.
I can't take Justin Fields seriously still. Number 13, the Bengals. I actually, believe it or not, I had the Saints at 13. Then I thought about it. I'm like, the Bengals are better than the Saints. If anything,
I'd put the Falcons up there.
Yeah.
I'd put the Falcons.
Because the Falcons beat the Saints. No, right, exactly. But the Saints just started off so hot that I was like, and then they came back down to earth. And then maybe those first 2 weeks were an anomaly.
I would put the Falcons over the Steelers, if anything.
I would. Yeah, I don't like the Steelers either. I would do that too. I just
their offense.
I have to respect the Steelers. Yeah, I just for their defense alone. But really, honorable mentions: Seahawks, Steelers, Bengals for me.
Yeah. Eagles, Bucs, Cowboys.
So let's get into Week 5, Dylan. I went 6-10 this week. What did you go?
I went 11-5. I had a good week.
So what's your overall record now?
So now I'm 37-27. I'm up 10 games.
I'm 30-34 now. So you're
negative.
Yes.
You're under 500.
So I'm 7 games away from you right now.
Oh my God.
Hey, it's not over yet.
It's not. Look, listen. Last year we had a pretty big gap, and you catch up. So it could happen in 1 week.
So Week 5, Thursday Night Football, Bucs at Falcons, NFC South showdown. Who do you got, Dylan?
I love this game. This is going to be a great. This is going to
be fun to watch.
I love these Thursday night games. They're finally
They've been
good.
very fun.
They're good.
Yes.
I got the Bucs in this, but now that I'm thinking, this is like a go either way game. Honestly, I got the Bucs in this.
Yeah, Falcons only 1.5 point favorites. Falcons are home, and they're only 1.5 point favorites. Very slight.
It's 1.5. See, I got to do this closer to the day.
You do right before.
I'm at 2.5 now. All right. Yeah, so I'm going Bucs there.
I'll go Bucs too. I think the Bucs are the better team, but it's going to be very close.
It is.
London, Sunday morning. Jets at Vikings. Vikings favorites. Who you got?
I'm sorry, man. the way that the Vikings have been playing and the way that the Jets have been playing, come on, how can we not choose the Vikings?
Originally, I went Vikings before the season started,
No.
but I just don't see the Vikings going 5-0 with Sam Darnold. I'm going
You're
with the
doing
Jets.
it to yourself. You're
Yes.
going to do it to yourself.
I don't see the Vikings going. It's not even about the Jets. I just don't see the Vikings going 5-0 with Sam Darnold. I think this is where they choke.
I don't see the Jets beating the Vikings after last week.
I didn't see the Broncos beating the Jets, and they did. So
Okay.
yes,
You got me there.
And I keep picking favorites, and I keep being wrong. I think this is the one game where the Vikings finally Sam Darnold in London.
Yeah.
Good defense.
I thought that was this week with the Cowboys and the Giants, but nope. But
That's true.
let's move on.
Classic NFC North, not NFC North, AFC North showdown. Ravens at Bengals. Ravens are the favorites on the road. Who you got?
Ravens at Bengals. Ravens at
That's
Bengals. Honestly, that one's a go either way, but I got the Ravens.
Me too.
Honestly, the way that they've been playing, there's just no stopping them.
And the Bengals look shitty against the Commanders, and the Panthers almost beat them. So they're probably gonna get worked by that Ravens run game. Let's be honest.
Absolutely, yeah.
Panthers at Bears. I'm honestly gonna go Panthers here. Bears 3.5-point favorites. I feel like this is a spot for Bears to choke. I'm sorry. I think the Panthers might win this game.
You think you're taking the Panthers
Yes.
here? Wow.
Andy
I'm
Dalton.
taking the Bears. They got their first win. I think they're going to keep it going. I think Caleb's going to have, that little pep in his step now. They got to win.
They actually did win week 1, but it did.
Did they?
You remember we forget because the defense and everything and the block punt.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
It felt like his first actual win.
That was the Will Levis flip to the sideline.
Yeah, those are two crappy teams.
Yes.
Nobody won that game.
I really think the Panthers might squeak one out here just because the Bears are clear favorites here, and I feel like Panthers defense isn't that bad. Bears might choke here.
The Panthers really stepped up with Andy Dalton.
This one's tough. Dolphins at Patriots.
Dolphins at Patriots. That's so funny. I didn't pick a game yet because I made this list. I made this list on Monday morning. I'm like, okay, let me see how the Dolphins games go. I saw how the Dolphins game go, so now I'm gonna choose Patriots.
I think that Tyler Huntley got a full game of starting. The Patriots are so bad. I'm gonna go Dolphins here.
What? The Patriots beat the Bengals. Do we not?
Okay, but the Jets beat the Patriots and now they suck. You know what I mean? You can't keep doing this.
Listen.
Tyler Huntley was decent on the Ravens. I think he got a game under him. I think the Dolphins win here. I do.
That's a crazy take.
Is it really? The Patriots are terrible.
How many points did they score last week or yesterday?
I think it was like 6.
6. Yeah. Come on.
How many points did the Patriots score against the Jets? 3.
That's the Jets.
No, but we want to say the Patriots are good, but then when the Jets beat them, they suck. Now they're good again. We gotta pick a side here. They're either good or they're not good.
The Patriots aren't good, but they could win a game.
Let's not forget Tyler Huntley made the playoffs with the Ravens twice. So he was his first game starting. He just got on the team a week ago. I'm gonna go Dolphins. This one's really good. Bills at Texans. Bills are favorite on the road.
Bills at Texans.
I'm going to go Texans here. I think C.J. Stroud has a nice game, and he's a Bills defense that has a lot of young pieces, and that wide receiver core, I think Nico Collins goes off. I'm going to go Texans. At home.
I got to go Texans, too. The Bills took a huge step back last week. I just don't like what I've seen from them. The Texans are finally starting to come on, getting the rhythm of things. I got to go Texans here.
How are the Jags favored against the Colts?
That's a great question.
Jags are 2.5-point favorites at home. I know they're home, but against the Colts, I'm going to go Colts here. How?
The Jaguars have just been playing
decent, I guess.
No.
I know. I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it. It's
give me Anthony Richardson.
They were beating the Texans the whole game. It's like Trevor Lawrence didn't even look good. I'm gonna go Colts. Yeah.
Yeah, give me Anthony Richardson.
Browns and Commanders. I can't believe I'm saying this, but this is easy Commanders for me.
Is it?
You gonna go Browns here?
No, I can't.
Okay. Okay. Commanders for both of us there. Cardinals at 49ers. I'm done going Cardinals. 49ers. I've been going Cardinals too many times, and Cardinals started off very strong, but they're starting to fall apart here.
Yeah, there's nothing else to say there. The 49ers are just a better team.
They are. 7.5-point favorites there. I'll go Niners. Raiders at Broncos. This could be interesting.
Raiders at Broncos.
I'm going to go Broncos at home here. Even though I keep getting burned when I go Broncos.
I got to go with the Raiders. They've been playing better football. Broncos, that Jets game, I don't even count. Was your defense got you in that game. They scored 1-2 touchdowns.
True. Packers at Rams. I'm gonna go Packers here. Packers are the better team without Puka and Cooper Kupp. Packers are gonna win here. I think Packers win easily.
I feel like I feel like we're really counting out the Rams here. I mean, I know,
We are.
I know we're missing 2 stars, but I don't know. They lost to the Bears. That was pretty embarrassing. I don't know how they were favored in that game. Blows my mind.
So you're gonna go Rams
but they still won. That's the crazy part. I'm gonna go Rams here. I think they're the better team. I think Stafford's the better quarterback. He's a veteran.
I agree.
They're gonna work them. And I think the Rams are winning this game.
2 great quarterbacks, 2 great offensive head coaches. I just love the Packers' weapons. And what do
the
the Rams have?
It's gonna be a good. Tutu Atwell is.
Oh, he's impressive.
Last year too.
And Kyron Williams too, very impressive. But like
Absolutely.
Wicks, Reed, Dobbs, Watson, Josh Jacobs, they're just too much. They're too stacked.
You got some rookies in there that are starting to come on. I don't know. I like I said before, I think Stafford makes his wide receivers, and I think he'll make another one this week or next week.
Your Giants against the Seahawks.
Another game I didn't choose because the Seahawks were playing. I wanted to see how they were playing. They played pretty good. You play any sort of good football, you can beat the Giants. So.
Geno Smith's been playing very well. I'm going to go Seahawks.
I'm going to go Seahawks too.
Sunday Night Football, Cowboys at Steelers. I think Cowboys bounce back, beat the Steelers. I don't like Justin Fields. I just don't.
I agree with you on that one. I think the Cowboys.
Oh wow, going Dallas, nice.
I'm going Dallas. I mean, they had a nice run. He was 3-0 at first. They got that loss under their belt.
You finally agree with me though, right? Like he makes good plays, but he's like makes stupid decisions.
I don't know
sometimes.
if it's him or the offense in general. I'm curious to see what Russell Wilson looks like out there. I don't think he looks any better.
He's not going to play this year. I think they're just going to keep riding with Fields. I don't think he's hurt.
That blows my mind though. Like
I think they just want to see Fields' upside. He's more upside than Russ. I think you're really into seeing Russ this year.
I mean,
maybe he
was supposed to be the starter.
Yes.
What changed from then to now?
I don't know. I think he got a little injury, and the players like Fields and Tom was like, I gotta make a decision here, and yeah.
I mean, Russ must have had 0 impact on the team in practice.
That's
and
what
training.
it seems like. Yeah.
I mean, we heard all the stories of how he just wasn't a good teammate.
Yeah.
Nobody liked him in Seattle. I don't think anybody liked him.
When that many people are against
Broncos.
you, when that many people are against you, it's like yikes, man.
Mr. Unlimited.
Yeah.
Shut up, man. Come on. When you're making a name for yourself,
just shut up and go ball, man.
That's how you know it's bad.
Monday Night Football, Saints playing the Chiefs. I'm going to be honest here. I think the Chiefs, I've been saying, I don't know if this is sustainable. I don't think the Saints are the better team, but then I think the Saints win here on the road. They steal a game from the Chiefs.
Wow.
They have to lose eventually, Dylan. They can't keep this up. What they're doing.
I think you're really high on the Saints. That's what it is.
I don't like the Saints that much. I just think I've seen the Colts.
No, you're high in the Saints.
I don't like the Saints that much.
Whether or not Mahomes plays good or not, the refs are going to have their back.
That's true.
At the end of the day, it's going to be a close game, and you know how the close games go.
I just
this
don't
isn't
think
going to be a blowout,
dude. I just don't think this is sustainable anymore. They have to lose eventually. I think this is I've seen the Saints, not the Saints. I think the Chiefs lose to a lesser Colts team, a lesser Broncos team, a lesser Raiders team. I think this is where they fold a little bit.
Well, listen, let's go back to flashback to last year. What receivers did they have? They had Rice. You're right. But look who they have now. They have one of the fastest guys in the league.
The fastest in NFL history.
Exactly. And he had, like a 50-plus yard receiving touchdown for Worthy. I think they're going to be fine. I really do. I mean, it comes down to Mahomes at the end of the day, and it seems like he's been getting done. Like, listen, I always hate on the Chiefs. I hate the calls that they make. They just have a good organization.
They're
Andy Reid is is the best coach in the league
right now. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got to go Chiefs.
Week 5 picks in the books. Week 4 games in the books. Another week in the books. Hey, we're gonna be on Hofstra tomorrow. You want to?
Yeah, no, it should be airing the following week. But yeah, we're going to be on Hofstra Radio. We're going to put it on our social media. It'll be out there. But yeah, look out for that.
This is exciting because most of these people in podcasts start small-time colleges. Not saying Hofstra small-time, but starting at these colleges.
Don't get them going. Don't get the Hofstra people going.
And then they work their way up. So this is a great starting point for us to get on with the Hofstra Radio.
Absolutely. I'm excited.
We're going to post it. Keep liking, supporting us, subscribe, share, watch the video, leave a comment, leave a like. Thanks, Dylan. Good week. And we're going to have a good one next week, too. See you. Thanks. Goodbye.
Let's go.